Okay. I think we're ready.
Cool. Oh, now Casey, you're off.
Okay. Are we good?
Okay. Casey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm somehow muted and I can't make it unmute. Hold on.
Casey, y'all gotta unmute on Clubhouse and mute your computers.
Mute button.
And then Ashley, if you could unmute yourself on both platforms, but then turn the volume off on your computer.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh,
unmute myself.
No, gotta unmute bottom right little microphone button on Clubhouse.
There she goes. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, yay. And we've got 2 viewers already on Facebook. Guys, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube and Twitter, if the audio's off, please let us know. Same with Clubhouse. I think we should be good and ready to roll.
Let's do this.
Always always a challenge getting all the technology set up on these.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, welcome, Ashley, and thank you so much for coming on today. We're excited to have you. Just a really quick introduction. I'm Hallie Beeler-McCrory. I am in San Angelo, Texas. I'm known for selling 90 homes a year in a small town, and I'm actually from North Carolina, so I'm from Greensboro, so kind of your neck of the woods, but I've been in Texas now for 7 years. Love my co-host, Casey Steyer. She's the downtown guru in Raleigh, North Carolina. A little bit of an echo. Okay. I wonder how we can fix that.
What is it?
She said a little bit of an echo. Maybe if I turn down my podcast. All right. Hopefully that makes it better. Marta, will you let me know if that I just hopefully fixed it, but let me know if that doesn't work. Yeah, and then we've got, and Casey works all of North Carolina. I just call her the downtown guru because she has a bunch of businesses and clubs and bars in downtown Raleigh, doing all sort of real estate investing there, but really working the whole state. I wish I could do that with Texas. I guess I can. Texas is really big to try to get around. And then we've got Ashley. Is it Komons or how do you pronounce it? I don't want to say it wrong.
No, it's Komons. Everyone says Komons, but tomato is the way I see it.
Komons.
Komons.
Yes, Komons. Okay, cool. Awesome. So Ashley, are you in Charlotte or Raleigh?
In Raleigh.
Okay. I just thought maybe Charlotte because of the phone number area code.
Well, I grew up in Charlotte. I was raised in Charlotte, lived there for, 17, 18 years, and been here in Raleigh for about another 15 years. So, geez, I'm getting old.
Nice. So are you a real estate agent?
No, actually not. My partner, she is a real estate agent.
She's actually on my team.
Okay. Well, you know what, Casey, why don't I let you introduce Ashley a little bit instead of me just jumping into questions. Sorry.
Yes. Ashley, I met her through Melissa, and Melissa and I have been best friends for quite some time. And she purchased her first short term in Carolina Beach a few years back, and I helped her actually do the purchase part of that. I set her up with agent and everything. And then I convinced her to get a real estate license. So she sends me referrals, and then when I get rentals, I would send them her way. And then she met Ashley, living in, as I call it, AKA Canada, Bedford, North Raleigh, from where I live. And she, them two combined, and now they do rentals from the mountains to the beach. I'm not sick, guys. I'm allergic to cinnamon, and I got a dry thing on Thursday. My lip looks 1,000 times better now, and I can talk again. On Friday, nobody could understand anything I said. My tongue was so swollen. So,
okay, we've got an echo again. Girls, if you could turn down your Clubhouse volume as much as you can, but still be able to hear it on our end, I think that may help.
Is that better?
We'll see.
Okay.
Marta, let us know if that is better. But I think maybe turning down the clubhouse will help us on the Facebook end.
So I met Ashley through her, and now they have joined forces, and a little blonde and brunette, and they're kicking butt with Airbnbs all over the state of North Carolina. They do. I know Melissa has a luxury one. I think you do too, Ashley. You just both finished mountain houses at the same time that are Airbnbs, and they got their occupancy, everything about pretty much the same day. So.
Yeah, we're definitely undergoing some construction right now, trying to finish our house. And the same with Melissa. She has a luxury property that should be listed any minute now in Beach Mountain, and mine is in Asheville. And so we're just undergoing a lot of construction, renovation, all that fun stuff, and looking forward to getting those properties listed.
So, Ashley, I'll hand it over to you, and you tell us a little bit about Moxy Vacation Rentals, and tell us where you've got stuff now, because I know you've got some. Is it the Topsail area, Carolina Beach?
Yeah, so Melissa and I actually have several properties listed from the coast of North Carolina all the way to the mountains. We actually are bringing on some additional properties in South Carolina this year as well. And we're also kind of navigating into Tennessee, but we focus on just the short-term rental market, really, within the whole United States, but our specialty right now, most of our properties are in North Carolina. We do like any other vacation rental management company. We manage a property, we list the property, we look at price optimization. We manage the occupancy rate. We pull data constantly. We actually pay for all the data in the state of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. So we're able to dig into the data and really kind of research that to put a product out there that's going to be competitive in price. And by doing that, you actually get a higher occupancy and obviously more revenue. So I would say what sets us apart from other vacation rental management companies is what we charge. We actually charge an industry low rate compared to a lot of competitors. A lot of competitors are known to charge anywhere from about 20 to 35%. And with Moxy, we actually start out charging 20%, and then for every additional property that you list with us, that percentage goes down, all the way down to about 15%. If you list multiple properties with us, it actually gives you the advantage of saving money and including all of your properties listed with one management company. So that's probably the biggest thing that sets us apart from other property management companies. And then also, in addition to that, Melissa and I, we own our very own properties. We manage our properties. We don't have a company that does that for us. And a lot of property management companies, they hire people to manage these properties, and they've never done it before. Right? So they're trained on how to list it and how to price it, but they haven't actually done it themselves before. But Melissa and I, we do. Our hands are involved in every step of the process, and we're very knowledgeable, just with the experience we have with our very own properties. So those are probably the two biggest things that set us apart from other companies.
Now, okay, so we've got another echo. I'm wondering how we can fix this.
I don't know. We don't usually have this many echoes.
I know. I guess if we could, we'll keep going, but if we could just keep our clubhouse audio down, or like the on your phone, if you could turn it down as much as you can, but still with being able to hear us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashley, your Carolina Beach, yours and Melissa's, you guys had some of the highest rates, or the highest, like yours was occupied more than any other ones there, correct? I believe actually, Melissa was telling that stat at that. They came when he came.
Yeah, we do.
They were some of our speakers, so.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? We do. We have the two highest, most revenue generating properties in Carolina Beach. for
Wow.
2-bedroom condos. And then we actually have a few additional condos that are also bringing in a lot of revenue, and they are actually considered within the top 10 within Carolina Beach. So we have several properties out there and a ton of success stories specifically with those properties.
So what would the steps be if I, such as myself, I don't have any Airbnbs. We do long-term on all of our properties that we have, but we wanted to set one up. What would be one of our first things we would need to do with you?
Can I interject on that question really quick?
Yes.
Before, like the very first step, if someone's going to look at buying an investment property, I'm sure Melissa can help them, and you of course too, but as a realtor on Melissa's side, she can help them pick probably what she thinks is a good investment property.
Yes, actually, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is something else that we do that other property management companies do not do. So like I said before, we pay for all of the data in the state of North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and we can also pay for additional data within other states. And what we can do is, if you're interested in looking for a property, first, what I like to tell my clients is look in an area that you enjoy, an area that you would like to have a second home. Because there are several areas within the United States that would do extremely well. So I would say pick a location that you are drawn to first, and then from there, give us that location. So for example, if you're like, I really want my second home to be at the beach and I would prefer that to be in North Carolina, then what Melissa and I could do is we could actually send you different locations that tend to do better than others. Right. So for example, in North Carolina, Carolina Beach does extremely well. Emerald Isle is another beach that does really well. And believe it or not, Indian Beach does just as well as those other two beaches. And so once you kind of narrow down the location of where you want to be, then you can send us addresses. So maybe you can start looking at properties that you would like to purchase. If you send us an address of that property, we can actually pull all the data on that particular property and immediately, within seconds, let you know what that potentially could bring in as far as revenue. So I would say the first step is just determining the location that you're drawn to, giving that information to us, and then kind of work together on finding the best property that's going to bring in the most revenue for you.
How do you determine what is a good, I mean, obviously you said you have data that you have access to. Is it like overall occupancy rates or like the rental amounts?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, both or?
Yep. So we have access to every rental property listed within the United States. And of those properties, we can see how much they're listing, what their daily rate is, what their occupancy is. We can take a look at their listings and figure out, okay, what is their competitive advantage? If I want to bring in this type of revenue, what do I need to do? So you kind of have a comparable. And that's what I did when I bought my property in Carolina Beach, is I was like, okay, this is the amount of money I want to make. And I know I want a property at the beach. And this is my price range. Well, my price range at the time landed as a 2-bedroom condo, oceanfront in Carolina Beach. So then I looked at all the data of every single 2-bedroom condo listed in Carolina Beach. And I said to myself, I was like, okay, how can I make my property the best? Out of all these 2 bedrooms, what can I do? So what we ended up doing is we renovated the entire condo. We hired a decorator. We got the whole thing decorated. And then once I created the listing and had to put pricing together, again, I looked at those other competitors to figure out what they were pricing. And I kind of matched what they were doing initially. And then I just kind of took those steps. And after the first year, I was the first property that was bringing in the most revenue in Carolina Beach for a 2-bedroom condo. And Melissa and I are 1 and 2. So sometimes she's 1, I'm 2, and, vice versa. But I think she took a very similar approach. And I know her and I have done that in other properties that we've purchased as well. We do our research first and then kind of go from there and take those steps.
How do you determine, like, I feel like decorating or even renovating, let's say renovating and decorating, like Airbnb versus long-term rental. Like, are you going for like themes and properties with Airbnbs? Like I've seen like people here, we have a big rodeo here every year. So people do like kind of rodeo themed or Western themed Airbnbs. Do you see those doing better, or what are your kind of suggestions on renovation and decoration? From not to say that you need to give away all of your trade secrets, but I guess, is there any like tips that you could give?
Yeah, so I think it all depends on your location, obviously, and that's why looking and taking a look at your competitors, the top 10 competitors, and looking at their decor, looking at the amenities that they provide, and trying to figure out, okay, why is this property bringing in the most revenue? Well, generally, what you will see is that number one, they are decorated extremely well. Now, when I say decorated well, a lot of times that is based on the area. So obviously, if you have a property on the coast, you want it light, you want it airy, but if you have a place in the mountains, you want it to feel a little bit more rustic and warm. But then amenities are also very important, all depending on where you're at. So a pool table, a hot tub, a swimming pool, foosball, you name it. It really depends on the area. And that's why taking a look at your competitors in that area that are doing well, looking at their properties and determining why, and asking yourself, why are they doing well? And a lot of it is decor. It's clean. It's catchy. There's something about that property that just catches your eye. If your area is all about the rodeo and that sort of thing, then I'm sure having your decorator focus on, making it unique in that way could really appeal to people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it really depends on the location, but the answer is in the data. You pull your top 10 competitors, you dig into each and every one of them, you look at their photos, you look at their listings, and then you ask yourself, what can I do to make my property even better than theirs?
Yeah.
It's kind of like real estate is. If you think about when you're doing a listing, you've got to look at your competitor and be like, okay, what am I going to do to make mine stand out on top of everybody else?
Yep.
Especially since we're switching over to a buyer's market opposed to a seller's. Somebody asked, do you use the software that adjusts daily listing price by itself now, or do you manually adjust your pricing?
So that's a really good question. We use both. We have software that does it, but honestly, the software is not always right. And that is what a lot of property management companies will do, is they'll use just the software. Well, I used the software last week and it had my property listed at $300 more than it needed to be listed at. And if I did not do my own research and kind of monitor the pricing, I would have left it there and my property would not have been booked. So the software is a great tool, but you also have to kind of do your own homework and dig into the pricing to make sure that it's priced accurately.
So do you look at occupancy rates too? I mean, obviously you said you're looking at your top 10 competitors. What are you looking at occupancy rate to determine if you think you're too high or too low as well? And if so, what's like a good occupancy rate for Airbnbs?
Okay, so again, the data that we pull, it lets us know what the occupancy is month to month. So for example, in Carolina Beach, the occupancy rate in Carolina Beach from about June to September is around 90%, right?
And
so
that's for all of the Airbnbs in the market, right?
Exactly. But what's good about that is that's when you can increase your pricing, right? Because they're almost at 100% occupancy. People are going to be traveling that time of year and it's almost at 100% occupancy. I can raise my prices as high as I would like them to be, as long as it's competitive, of course, and people will book. But in the off season, such as now, because we're in the off season, the occupancy rate in Carolina Beach is 40%, right? So in order for me to stay competitive and actually get booked, I have to research all the properties in the area and kind of determine what they're being priced at. And then I need to price mine right around where they are, and hoping that my price, along with my ratings and my photos, will get me booked before them. So my occupancy is around 70% in the off season. But if you're looking at all of Carolina Beach, it's about 40%. So if you're using just the software, you probably will not get booked very often because the software is not always accurate, especially when occupancy is low.
So is that something that you coach people on as well when they're potentially looking for places? Like, I know you said, pick somewhere that you'd like to visit. Do you also, like, what if it's a place with a low occupancy rate? Are you telling your clients, like, this is probably not a good place, or
Yes.
like this would maybe be a better option?
Yes. Yeah, I actually have an investor right now that I'm working with. He has he wants to buy 10 properties within the next 2 years. That's kind of like his goal. And he had some areas in mind. And I was like, okay, those are great areas. However, you want to work smarter, not harder, right? So if you put your money in this area, you're going to get double the return. So I kind of steer them in the right direction. You also don't want to deter them from getting a second home in a place that they really want to be themselves. But again, the more money they make, the more money Moxy Vacation Rentals make. So we have the same motivation, right?
Right.
We want to get them the most money possible. So we definitely want to steer them in the right direction, and we will do that. We're not going to let them make a bad investment. Yeah, so we'll do everything we can to get them on the right page and, getting the most for their money.
Yes. Love it.
So if, let's say, how you wanted to get one in San Angelo, you guys could help her?
Yes, absolutely. Again, we would have to look at the area, dig into the data. What I would do first is I would send you the top 10 competitors.
I'm curious about it, aren't you?
It's
Yes.
really addicting, and it is. And I think that's why Melissa and I, we usually buy like 1 or 2 properties a year, because it's a lot of fun. And once you kind of dig into that, it's kind of like real estate, right? It's like an addiction. You love selling homes, you love real estate. It's just kind of the same thing in the vacation rental market too.
Well, it's crazy too, because Airbnb has even become like almost gotten into the game of, it's almost like you can do long-term, short-term rental. Like people can book it for like 4 months or something, and they can get a discount. Like that's what we see a lot in our market here in San Angelo. While we're not a big vacation rental market, there's still, like, we have a lot of oil field, solar panel, wind turbine workers where all of our hotels are booked up. So they're looking to go to more Airbnbs here. That's what we've seen. So it's like doesn't even have to be like vacation rentals anymore at this point. It's crazy how it's transitioned. We've got another question. What features give the biggest return? I just bought an Airbnb or short-term rental investment property in San Angelo.
Okay, and what was the question?
What features give the biggest return on an Airbnb? So I guess that could be features or amenities, like you said.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a really good question. I guess can you tell me about the area? Do you know much about the area?
Yeah, so he's talking about where we live, and I guess that it kind of depends on the area. Like a swimming pool is going to do better in some areas than not. We are a town of 125,000 people. We're near a big Air Force base. We've got 2 big colleges here. We are not really near any like huge cities. Midland is probably our biggest, where there's a lot of oil field workers. And what else? We have a lake. So I guess being lakefront would probably give the biggest return here.
Okay.
We've got a good downtown area, so that helps as well.
He just said downtown area, central business district.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, amenities, if you could offer, I mean, people love, first of all, let's just start with like the decor. It needs to look hip, stylish, clean. You need white linen. I know that there's a lot of people that don't do white linens. People expect that. They want that. They can tell if it's dirty or if it's clean.
Easy to bleach too.
Usually you have to have white linens. And it really needs to be clean. As far as amenities, I mean, I would have a pool table, a foosball table. People are looking for an experience. So if they're going there with some friends or family, you know, they want to have fun. So I would say if you could add, you know, just some maybe board games or some, like I said, a pool table, a foosball table, things like that. There's a lot of properties that do not have those items. And so that can set you apart, because when people do a search on Airbnb and VRBO, they can select all the items and essentials that they're looking for. And so the more items that you provide, the more boxes you're going to check for them.
Yeah.
And some of the most common ones, if you can have a hot tub, I tell you right now, you're going to be the top 10% of properties that book, because people love pools and they love hot tubs, and the majority of listings do not have those items.
And a hot tub can be used year round.
I feel like even like the cowboy pools have been popular too. She's like, not as good.
Any kind of pool, if you can get in, you can get wet or get cool or get, you know, whatever it may be, it's gonna do well. I would just say make it an experience, a fun experience. Create that type of rental that people see, and they see in the photos and they're like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun, or wow, that looks really clean and luxurious. So just think about that when you are getting your property ready. Don't cheap out. A lot of people cheap out. They get these
I always look for ones that have coffee makers personally.
Oh, 100%.
I'm like, I'm easy to please.
So Melissa and hers, she does a coffee maker and a regular old school maker. So
he said, so my Simpsons arcade and shuffleboard I purchased should do good. And there's tacos and margaritas 2 spaces over.
Oh my God, I would book your place right now, because shuffleboard is my favorite game, and it's really funny. We're renovating our Ashley.
I love margaritas.
And we put shuffleboard in it. So I am all for shuffleboard. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, this is another thing I heard recently. This is super niched and random, I guess, but I've heard that people get really mad if they book an Airbnb and there's not like a physical alarm clock. Have you heard that before?
No, I haven't. That is so funny. You have an alarm on your phone, right?
I know. I don't know. I've heard that from like 2
backup
people
plan
now.
just in case your phone doesn't charge and it dies, like somebody here I know that happens on a regular basis. You plug it in wrong because of your case, or your dog knocks your charger out of the wall and you think it's charging all night long.
Yeah, they do have these really nice alarm clocks on Amazon. So it allows you to charge your phone. It's like the old school alarm clock. So a lot of properties have those. Melissa actually has one that she just bought, and I really love it. I actually want to buy one for myself. So again, if you've heard that and you're getting that type of feedback, regardless of what you think of it, you should provide that.
It's probably $9 on Amazon.
Right. You have to listen to your audience. And if your audience is saying this is what we want, you have to provide it. You don't have to, right? But if you want to be that property, that top property, you should want to provide it.
So on over on Clubhouse, I'm bringing up Storm. I've connected with her on travel clubhouses, but she actually, so she's featured on a lot of traveling clubhouses, but the way she travels is through making, investments through Airbnbs. And she said, I'll let her talk here in a minute, but she commented she has like a bunch of Airbnbs herself and said she's never had any complaints about not having alarm clocks. So who knows? Maybe that was just random.
Yeah. You get some crazy things, some crazy requests, but I will say is that we're in the business of hospitality. And so we have to understand that if there is something that your audience wants, right, your clientele wants, it's best to just buy it. You know, oftentimes I'll get feedback from my clients and they'll say, oh, you know, it'd be nice if you had this or nice if you had that. I mean, I could easily write that off and say, I don't care. But for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy it. It'll be there next time. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the type of experience you really want to provide.
Love it. I guess my biggest fear would just be not knowing and getting a bad rating, but I guess that's the way you learn. Can't be afraid of that.
Right.
Yeah, I would say, what's up, guys?
What's up?
You're good. We've got Storm on for our Facebook friends.
I mean, if you're getting a feedback that maybe getting an alarm clock that you could put somewhere they have access to, but we purposely don't get alarm clocks because one, it's another thing to plug in, and typically, you know, if your lights aren't already hardwired to a switch and you've got night lamps, you know, then you're killing one of the plugs there, and they usually want to plug their phone in, obviously. So I don't know, and then that nightstand space is, I don't know, for me, I'm all about as minimal as possible. Not so much like, I mean, not so much when I'm decorating your Airbnb, but I just personally as a preference. So for me, like, the emptier my nightstand, the better, so I can bring my, you know, water, my phone, my tablet, all the contents I go to bed.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have one that's accessible, maybe like in the closet so that they have the option.
Yeah.
If they have, but for us, we never had that feedback in the last 7 years. Not saying we don't want those, you know, like
Yeah.
there's different generations that are that's why they don't.
Yeah. And even Marta said, you know, if it's something, you know, if it's something where they want to be off the grid, that might be better than using their phone. So maybe it's just something we keep in a closet like that. And like, what about a blow up mattress? Has that been important for you?
I mean, if you advertise it, then it's important, right? Because you're counting that as one place to sleep, or you're counting 2 additional people can sleep in that specific area. So if you're advertising it, it's important to have it. But if you don't have one, I don't think that's a problem either, unless you're advertising your property to sleep X amount of people. I really don't think that's a necessity. However, I do have 2 tri-fold mats, and that will sleep additional people. And I don't advertise at my listing, but I do have it there just in case your children want to sleep on the floor, or maybe you do have some additional guests that want to stay the night. I do have those. So I guess the same concept that'd be the same concept with an inflatable mattress. So, yeah.
Okay, good to know.
We have an inflatable queen-size air mattress, 18-inch from the floor. In every unit, even if we don't advertise the air mattress being available there, the only time it's in the listing is if we're literally saying, look, you could sleep 12 here if you use the queen air mattress, but, you know, like, I don't like to sell somebody's, you know what I mean? If you're going in and splitting that, it's, 10 people, 5 couples, you're splitting it 5 ways. I don't want to be the person that gets your mattress and there's, Casey, the person full of stuff.
Yeah.
So because of that,
always drama.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sleep extra people last minute, it's in the property already, just so that we're not then running around last minute to save the 5-star review. And it's already there, but it's not like we don't advertise that as one of the beds. Because I think that so I really think that air mattress can really hurt or help you if it's seen as a bonus where they now are trying to go buy an air mattress for their people they're squeezing in. Then that's going to add to your presentation. But if you're literally everybody looks at your listing and seeing that one of your beds is their mattress, that speaks to me to the value and the quality of the host's mentality, right? Like, I'm a budget traveler, so I learned this the hard way, it's the truth. I started Airbnb as a host from a budget traveler mindset of wanting to provide a place for people who can't really afford to travel, because that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And what I realized, probably way too late, not too late, but I wish I realized earlier, is that just because that's the way I like to travel, that doesn't have to be who I'm advertising to. You know, what I do with the funds from the luxury style, and now we're primarily luxury properties. Because I want, it's the same amount of work, right? It's the same amount of work for reservation, whether I've done a party of 14 on a beachfront property with a private chef and hot tub and all 9 yards. My work is exactly the same as if it's a 1-bedroom apartment, you know, somewhere near a beach town.
Mm-hmm.
So once I realized that, it was definitely a mind shift of, okay, well, if I had been rich my whole life, what would my expectation be? I try to get into that.
Yeah.
And it's been successful, really successful. It actually has born some additional businesses for us where we saw, you know, the need for that versus another Airbnb in that area this year was more okay, there's enough of those. Where's this going? Like, what should I be getting into next before the rest of the crowd arrives? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's those experiences. So yeah.
So we just had someone else ask, I'll put it up here on Facebook, basically what we just talked about. I heard it's good to have a blow up stored so you could technically say your place sleeps more to help bring your property up in search results. Is this a thing? I think basically what these girls just said is that it's good to have it and have it stored, but it's not good to have it included for number of beds, because then it's not false advertising, but then someone ends up, unless someone, you know, is okay with going into it, that they're going to have the Airbnb mattress. But a lot of times when a group of people are going and booking an Airbnb, they're splitting it equally, and then people get mad when they're splitting it equally, and one person has this nice cushy king bed and the other person has the blow up mattress, although there are nice blow up mattresses. It seems like it's better to have it, but not to include it in the number of beds. I hope that answers that question. We had another, sorry, Storm. Yeah.
They were talking on more of the impact it has to be able to see more people.
Right.
And now that rental service is part of rental cost, and they are correct with that. So it really depends on your avatar when it comes to something like a blow up mattress. But I can definitely say that, like, I know some of my 3-bedroom regular ranch houses, I've converted the shed into an additional room purely to get me out of the bracket of the 3-bedroom ranch, because that's what this whole area is saturated with. So most of these houses are those same houses. Being able to sleep 10 to 12 people now versus like 6 comfortably, 8 pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, definitely has moved us out the search ranking. So if that is, I mean, the best thing you can do is research your own specific area. It depends where your rental is, so it's hard to answer.
Yeah. It seems like it's all about looking at your competition, that top 10, like Ashley said.
Yeah, if you've got one and you want to know how to improve your listing, I would definitely suggest using Rank Freeze. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Rank Freeze, okay.
Yeah, so it's an app that basically downloads your listing, and then it kind of helps you out with what are you not hitting on. It'll tell you where you're ranking in the search engine. That Airbnb is basically all it is. And then it'll show you other listings that are ranking higher at what it is that they're hitting on that you don't have, and it also helps you with, you know, what captions you use on your photos, so that you use enough SEO words to bring your ranking up, what your title might want to be, things that will set you apart from the crowd. Which, again, if you're trying to rent a house where everybody else is not renting a house out on the platform, that's no longer enough. You know? So, yeah, that's software something we use, especially if a listing seems to drop off and stop getting
Kind of gets stale. Yeah.
and then we just go in there and toggle it around the middle, and we see a difference.
So I have another question for y'all from the crowd. And I guess this is more on the liability end. Ashley, I'll give you first dibs to answer this. Do you use any noise monitoring devices to be sure no one is being too loud? Is that, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. You're actually notified if, you're really what you're trying to do is you're trying to prevent parties, right? Like big groups of people having parties in your property. And yes, I do recommend those. I think it's great to have it in your property. Some of our properties have those and other properties do not. Most of our larger properties that sleep 12 to 20 have those items or that device in the home.
More like the ones like in Scottsdale, like bachelor and bachelorette party kind of locations.
Exactly, because it sleeps a lot of people, and that's usually where people are going to go to have those parties. And you want to try to prevent that. I think it's okay also to have a Ring camera, on your door, just to kind of track people that are coming in and out. And the cameras are kind of frowned upon, but you also have to keep in mind this is your investment, and you want to protect your investment. So I think having that. I never
personally mind when I'm going to stay at an Airbnb. Like, well, maybe that's because I'm an investor and know that, and I'm not usually doing anything sketchy, but I'm like, I just see it as the person just wanting to protect their property, because there are, just crazy people who don't know how to,
respect other people's stuff.
They would want their property to be treated. So,
right.
Yeah, that's just my take on it.
It's security.
But you do recommend a Ring.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, we'll hide that one. So, I guess we're getting into the last 10 minutes of our show. Are there any other tips for looking at investment properties, or any, like, do you recommend trying to go for more bedrooms, or is that again, depending on the location?
That's a really good question. Normally, the more bedrooms you have, the more money, the more revenue you can bring in. Mm-hmm. But also, the more bedrooms you have, the more money you're spending on purchasing the property. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have to look at every piece of the puzzle, starting from what is my budget, right? And if I can get a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house within my budget, and I can bring in X amount of revenue, then yes, that's a good investment, right? Mm-hmm. The numbers have to make sense. I found this property the other day. It's a 1-bedroom house, and it's in the North Carolina mountains. This 1-bedroom house is bringing in what a 3, 4, 5-bedroom properties in that same area are bringing in. They are charging the same amount. They have it listed as a luxury property. It was done extremely well. It's extremely beautiful. It's like a couple's retreat is how they have it advertised. And that just goes to show that if you renovate your property and it looks amazing and it has those amenities that people are looking for, people will spend top dollar. They absolutely will. So I think the numbers have to make sense. We have a 4-bedroom house. We have a 2-bedroom condo. Melissa has a 5-bedroom house. I mean, it really ranges, and they all bring in the ROI on all of them are the same, regardless of it being a 2-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom.
And I guess there's really a need for all of them too. Like you said, I mean, we go on trips where it's a group of people, or like we go on bachelorette and bachelor trips. I just went on a trip with my husband, just us two. So there's, there's needs for all types of houses and number of beds and baths, I guess. So that makes sense.
The occupancy is what I've noticed. The occupancy is higher with a 1 and 2 bedroom condo, right?
Really?
Yep. Well, think about it. I mean, how many people need a 4 or 5 bedroom house? It's people that are traveling with friends, family. Those are trips that you might take once a year. They don't happen as often as maybe a couple or one small family traveling. So I found that the occupancy is lower, right? But the price per night is higher. Whereas at the 1 to 2 bedroom, occupancy is higher, the price per night's lower. Again, it kind of ends up shaking out to be the same in the end.
So we've
How
got
are you with pets?
oh, sorry, Casey. You can go.
Oh, that's okay. I was wondering about pets. Rocky wants to know about pets.
Yes.
Rocky has a question tonight. Which one? Do you allow him or do you not allow him?
No, we would not. So like in our properties, we do not allow pets. But it also depends on your property. So we advertise luxury properties, and we really just don't want to take a chance on a pet coming in there and having an accident on the rugs or just not taking care of the property. I don't want dog hair on furniture. I just don't want that for my clients. But that's because we're advertising a luxury property. Now, if the property is not being advertised as luxury, and my property is not renovated, it's maybe not decorated that extremely well, then I probably would allow pets, because now you're going to have a higher occupancy and you can charge more because you're allowing pets. So I think
do you do a pet deposit, or
you can charge a deposit, or you can just charge a flat rate. And people are desperate to bring their pet, so they will pay more just to bring their pet.
100%.
Yeah.
they are?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we decided first off, my original one was the house I lived in, so I have a dog, so it kind of made sense to me. But then through building the business, what we've noticed is even as dog parents, when we travel, we always get given the dingiest of hotel rooms, or, your pet has to be under a certain size and breed or whatever. And so for that, we realized that actually the market for really nice places, for the same reasons actually that Ashley would share that you don't have your luxury properties, there is such a very small pool of places that pet owners or dog owners can go and stay with their pets that are actually really nice. And, I don't know, I feel like pet owners that travel with their pets are true, that's their kid type of pet owners versus the ones that are going to leave it, at the Brooklyn Kennel, and no judgment on anybody who does that. But for me, that's not something I could ever do with mine. So I wanted ours to be, again, I was my budget travel, so
Yeah.
that's how we built the business. And we actually made so much more money, especially before Airbnb had a pet fee in there, because we just charged each pet as a guest and a free guest. We did our research on what the local boarding places charged. And, there's one property we're not allowed pets in because it's not mine. So they don't want pets in for a lot of the same reasons. But even with those things, what I would urge you to have is the best local boarding place, for them to be able to maybe board the clothes and for the night, but still be able to go to the beach or car place or wherever the area offers. Have that answer to their problem, so it's not a deal breaker for them using your place, right?
Yeah.
So you have a doggy guide to every town that we're in.
I love it. And I guess that question came up because when we were thinking about taking him with us this year, when we went go on our yearly vacation, which we ended up canceling because we're behind on building out 2 bars. we were looking at dog friendly places and restaurants that allow him to go with us. And I mean, it's something you can't just jump in your car and obviously take off. You need to kind of have a plan if your pet's going with you. So, and one of the places we were looking at actually on their website had all the dog friendly restaurants and all the dog parks and the beaches that you could go on and that stuff. So, made it easy.
It sounds too like it's it kind of just depends on the property too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's understandable. It really is. So
yeah. Well, Ashley, do you have any other, especially some like tips or hacks for realtors? If we're, out here, obviously this is a great time to buy investment properties since the asset is on sale. Do you have any like tips or tricks for realtors to help their clients determine what might be a good investment property? Of course, I mean, it's going to be location specific, but any just overarching, tips for what would be a good investment property for our clients?
Yeah, so I would probably partner with a vacation rental property management company. And if you have clients who are interested in buying a short-term rental, I would maybe have them put a proposal together specifically for properties they're interested in purchasing. I actually do that for some local realtors in our area. And if they have a client who's looking to purchase a property, I'll put a proposal together that says, if you purchase this property, this is how much you could probably bring in revenue-wise. And that way they kind of have an idea of what that ROI is going to be for them. So I would partner with a local property management company.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like having, your go-to lender, your go-to appraiser, or not, well, can't really use, depending on, the situation. But, I have a go-to appraiser for, when I need like questions answered, or if I need a property measured, go to attorney. It's just like that. Just have your go-to property management company and stay in your lane and rely on the experts.
Exactly. And a lot of
that's why I have Ashley and Melissa.
Right? I mean, that's something that we do at no charge because it's a win-win for both, both parties involved, or all parties involved. So I think that's probably the best thing you could do, or also even just have a sit down with a property management company and just ask them, what properties do well in this area. What should we be looking for? And they can kind of give you a list of, items to look for and keep in mind when, you have clients that are looking in the area.
Absolutely. I love it.
Ashley, do you want to put your information in the comments so that way if anybody has other questions or if they're thinking about getting into Airbnbs, since you can do it anywhere in the United States, they could give you a call?
Of course.
I did put the Moxy website in our link tree. I'll drop our link tree in the comments as well. We've got it pinned. Oh, I thought we had it pinned. Hang on.
I didn't see it pop up today. That was why I was saying that. So,
pinned link. Here's our link tree, pinned in Clubhouse, and I will put it in the comments.
Somebody said they're looking at a beach city
next, and then New Orleans after that.
Oh, a beach city. Okay. Yeah, beaches do extremely well. In my opinion, oceanfront. Okay, they book first every single time. They will book first, and then second, make sure it has an elevator, a pool. Those are the three major things that I would look at if you're looking to purchase a property by the beach.
Love it. Mm-hmm. And New Orleans, close to Bourbon Street, probably.
Well, of course, that's going to do well.
Yeah.
I would definitely suggest, I'm 45 minutes from New Orleans, so I would definitely suggest checking their ordinances. Yeah, they're very, very strict now on short-term rental ordinances, and there's already a lot of Airbnbs that have been shut down. So definitely be careful when you're investing in an area and don't just think of it from an aspect of what draws crowd. Definitely look into the cities and go to them. Reach out to have a line, but go and talk to the person because it's such a new industry and there's so many rules and regulations that are constantly changing as it evolves that it's good to have that connection with the city officials so you can stay up to date and, make wise investment. You don't want to buy a property in the city that then changes laws and then you're buying that property and now you can't, you're not stuck in it, but you can't do what you originally planned. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now for realtors, we can come in and help too, because we're constantly having to look at different restrictions for
covenants and things that are not allowed,
Yep.
HOAs, things like that. That is in a way the realtor's job. For instance, today I've got a client in Wilmington. Real quick, they were looking. I called Melissa. I was like, he's thinking about Airbnb because his job may transferring in a year. And me and her tag teamed it. She pulled up the numbers, what he could potentially make if he's paying this much for it. And she sent him something real quick, started a conversation with him. And that may end up, making this deal because that was a concern of his.
Mm-hmm.
So she gave him a list. He gave her a list of everything this house has and sent her the listing. And we checked off the boxes.
Imagine buying a property, spending all that time and money, only to realize you're not even allowed to rent it, short-term rental.
We'll call that a flip. We won't call that a mistake.
Yeah.
That's Mrs. Adams. Somebody asked about an RV at the beach.
Oh, of course, I love RVs. My dad has an RV, and he plans on listing it in the mountains. I see RVs as being like those tiny homes. You can make them really special, really unique. And I think a lot of people are looking for that type of experience as well. So absolutely, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I guess we'll get this room closed up. If you guys want to connect with any of us, we've got all three of us connected on our link tree in the comments. And if you're on Clubhouse, it's pinned. But Ashley is Moxy Vacation Rentals on Instagram as well. Hallie's Homes here and CB Stiers all on Instagram. And we've got those linked in the link tree as well. Ashley, thank you so much for this
thank
insight.
you so much. We missed Melissa, but you did great. So thank you.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
So
yes, and I want to thank Storm for popping in on Clubhouse and giving her 2 cents as well. Really appreciate it.
So.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being here too. Sorry, I'm glad you guys are doing the show and everything.
Hey, we just have all the platforms open to try to reach as many people as we can. So
we're here to help. We're here to help on Mondays. So
yes.
Next week we have Levi. He shows you how to get business through YouTube. He's one of the biggest YouTubers. He's known as the real agent on there. So
yeah that's going to be a big one. Yeah. So we'll be on next Monday, 5:30.
Same time, same place. Everybody have a great
5:30 Central Time. Sorry, 6:30 Eastern.
6:30 Eastern. Yeah. So everybody have a great week. So
thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.